I think what's so important is to really get clear on your why. We want to wake up our wealth and manifest more money and, have all these wonderful things, but we need to get really clear on the why, because everything I do is guided by my heart, guided by my soul, guided by that wealthy wisdom within, because my mind, right, the one that wants to stay comfortable, the survival brain that kicks off is going to have a lot of objections, right, to traversing through the unknown. Why is this important to you? Why are you going to, face your deepest fears and feel really uncomfortable? Because there's a desired outcome. There's a result that you want, which is often, like you were saying with the toilet thing, it's quite simple at the end of the day, right? What we truly, truly want and desire, I think, is quite simple.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our live and conversation with Lara Waldman, my amazing coach, who I've been traveling and journeying with for the last year a bit, and it's been an incredible journey. So if you're here watching live in the Facebook group across all the platforms we're going live to, please feel free to comment and share your thoughts as we go through. I'm hoping that we will be going deep and meaningful and sharing some things that probably I haven't been able to share for many years. And I think that many will relate to all the conversation we're about to have. But however, welcome, Lara. It's so nice to have you here. And Lara is joining me from the UK, so it's very early there, 7 a.m. So really, thank you so much for being here. But Lara is an incredible mentor, teacher, leader in the wealth industry. So our conversation today is going to be around waking up your wealth. And she's also known as the Abundance Activator. And she certainly is that. And she's the author of Money Manifestation Mastery. And as I said, I've been traveling for the last year or so, and it's been an amazing journey. So I'm excited to go deep and connect and really share what it's been like for me, but also for her to share what it's like journeying down this road and awakening your wealth and awakening all parts of you. So thank you, Lara, for coming up, getting up so early for us all here in Australia.
It's a great pleasure. I'm so happy to connect with you all.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people are probably wondering what it really means to wake up our wealth. And I know for me, it's not just about the money, although in a sense, it's something that I had been resisting for a long time. And a lot of people in our community here are very spiritual, awakened people. And I know also that I had a deep unconscious program running about being spiritual and being wealthy doesn't align. And until I met you and realized that it's okay to be spiritual and wealthy. So can you speak a little bit to that and how that aligns with money? Because you're all about activating us through the money portal. So I wonder if you could just give us a bit of an overview of how that aligns in the work that you do.
Sure. And I'd like to start just by sharing a little personal story around this, because I learned all of this the hard way. It came from a lot of challenge and pain that I was going through. And long story short, I grew up around money. I grew up quite wealthy. I didn't know it at the time, but really in retrospect, very privileged upbringing. And then I went through a lot of trauma. And then I started to awaken spiritually. When I was about 18 years old, I actually started to get visions and messages about my purpose, what I was here to do in my life. And I started meditating, reading spiritual books, opening up this world, and started connecting to my inner guidance, to my soul, and to this vision, this purpose. And then that took me on this wild ride. And I basically, not really realizing it, but I opened into the world of spirituality. I became a healer, channel, spiritual coach. I went deep into all of that and woke up a lot of gifts that I had. But what I hadn't realized is that I had unconsciously rejected the physical world, the material world, money, because I grew up around it and it was really devoid of this heart and soul and sense of home and love. And so I thought, okay, that's not it. What's it is the spiritual world, home, connection, peace, love, etc. But it wasn't until I had my second daughter, so I had two little babies, and we were broke, and it just hit me very hard. And I was very spiritual. I was on purpose. I was doing this work. I had my vision, but we were completely stuck financially. And I just remember collapsing on my sofa, calling in my inner guidance and saying, what is going on with money and this planet? And that was about 12 years ago. And that is when I started to basically download or channel in this whole beautiful body of work, which was a complete surprise to me. My guidance started to talk to me about or show me this possibility for wealth and money. It was like a new paradigm around wealth and money, a new financial system, if you will. And that was including money. So what I was shown in myself was that I'd gone from money, devoid of heart and soul, went then deep into spirituality, devoid of the kind of physical realm, and just rejected all of it. And my journey now is to learn how to bridge the gap. And what I have learned over a lot of time is that it's about integration. So I call it integrated wealth, where it's not one or the other, it's both. And actually it's about infusing that soul, that heart, that consciousness into the physical realm, right? Into the physical world. Because what I had done was that I was using spirituality. It was really important. It was an important step, but I was disassociating. I was tapping in to these higher realms of consciousness through meditation, but really struggling to integrate in my physical and my human. So I was really hiding. I was really separating myself from the world. And my journey was then, okay, how do we bridge this? So you basically to be all of me and to feel safe in the world. How do we do this? How do we bring heart and soul into money? How do we bring heart and soul into business? How do we do this? And this was very much what I was guided to do. So that's my personal journey. And then, of course, I've been now taking many clients through this work and witnessing many of my clients having extraordinary results with this work. But essentially, what we're doing with this work is understanding that it's about, I work on the inner game of wealth creation. So waking up your wealth is, your wealth lies within. Right? We want to understand that what you're looking for starts within, rather than making money your God or rejecting it, right? How do we bridge that gap to your inner wealth and your outer wealth? What do you need to thrive as a human being on this planet? So for me, it's about your physical world holding and supporting you in alignment with your purpose, in alignment with what you're here to do, in alignment with who you're here to become, and that full expression of your soul embodied, your soul having a physical experience, because we're here to have a physical experience. So this is how I work with it. It's about bridging inner world and the outer world. So I was living a very rich spiritual life, but my physical reality was very stuck and limited. I wouldn't say poor, but very broken, very stuck. And that limited my capacity to do what I was here to do. So what I've started to understand is when I reject money, or when I reject anything, it actually limits my capacity to do what I'm here to do and to serve and to realize my purpose. So this has been, and honestly, I fought this kicking and screaming. I had so many objections. My mind was like, so it took me time to get on board with it. And I understand that some of these concepts are different and unusual, but so beautiful. And yeah, it's basically our logical mind may struggle with some of these concepts. So this is about tapping into something deeper inside.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the way you put not making money our God, right? Because I've realized more recently that it's actually far from that. It's much more deeper and profound. It's much more connected to that part of you that truly knows that we're worth it. And I think that was the biggest breakthrough for me throughout this year. It makes me quite emotional to think that the whole of my life, I have been rejecting money, but also rejecting myself, and really coming back. It comes back to that believing that you're worthy, right? And that's been the biggest thing for me, and working with that this whole time is this worthiness. and really breaking it down. And obviously going back to our trauma that I thought was even silly to even think that was a thing. Trauma was stopping or blocking me from really connecting to my true wealth. So such profound work. And it's just been, there's been some very low moments and there's been some very high moments, but just that fact that true wealth is just not about the money comes as a result.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The money's a symptom. The money's like the symptom of something deeper. So yeah, let's maybe just tap into that money and self-worth piece, because it truly is one of the big important pieces around our self-worth and our sense of deserving, and what I call your capacity to receive money. Because when I talk a lot about money blocks, what is stopping or blocking you from welcoming the money that you require or desire, or welcoming the money that you are being guided by your soul calling you to bring in and to work with. We start to see that there's places within that don't know how to receive, that don't feel worthy, that don't feel lovable, that don't feel good enough, that we have created separation from. And there's aspects of ourselves that I call buried in the shadows of pain and shame. And again, I've learned all this the hard way. I wasn't aware of my trauma as well that was keeping me in separation of this at the time. But what I found is we hold trauma in our body that creates separation. So that's maybe from your lived experience, real difficult things that have happened in your life growing up, but also ancestral trauma that we carry on our cells and our DNA. And this is endlessly fascinating to me. And these are where we've severed from our separation between ourselves, planet, nature. And this is ancient. This has been going on for a long time. So we're with this work of money manifestation mastery and waking up your wealth. It's actually waking up parts of yourself. It's reconnecting and reclaiming parts of yourself that you unconsciously mostly severed from or separated from, that keeps us in lack, that keeps us in scarcity, that keeps us in not enough, that keeps us feeling alone, struggling, all alone in the world. And so this is part of the journey of coming home, waking up our wealth. It's coming home to ourselves. And as you know, it's intense. It can feel very, I call it like defrosting. It's like, it can feel very intense and very difficult. But I found we have the courage to go in. I call it the pain portal to prosperity. When we go into it and face it and meet it, we open up, we breathe energy and breathe life force into it. Is there anything you'd like to share about you reclaiming or learning how to step into your worth, working through any old trauma blocks? Is there anything you'd like to share from your experience with that process?
Oh gosh, there's so much. And the more I think about it, the more it lands for me. I spent 7 years in an ashram and 7 years in a spiritual school, and I worked and then 35 years in personal development. And I've worked, Margie said, thank you, lovely to hear you. So yeah, I've done a lot of work. But this was just another level. This was a deeper level than I'd ever been before, because I actually had to own the shit, own it, and look at the shadows deeper than what I've ever gone before. Because as I said, I disregarded it as those things that had happened to me as even being like an excuse. In a sense, no, it's not an excuse, but I used to, if I shared those things, like even my own family would disregard me and go, oh, you're still banging on about that experience. This is things like my brother had me behind the kitchen door with a knife at my neck. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was really silly. But no, it was stored. It was there. It is real. And to do the work that I did, I was able to acknowledge that it happened and it was a thing and it was stuck. And it was causing all this shame and pain around my worth, and then just all the things that I felt, and I think the biggest thing was acknowledging it, that it was real and it was okay, and that having the tools to work with it was really profound and powerful, even though there was days where I was like stuck in that as I was moving through it. I feel like working with the vision as well of what I truly wanted and what I truly deserve was a strategy for me to move through all that pain and trauma and shame. And that was really profound in a sense that, for instance, just the little things, like the other day, if you can imagine, who loves cleaning the toilet, right? It's not a job you really love to do, right? I'm doing this thing, right? And I was like, why am I feeling so happy cleaning the toilet? It's this inner thing. It's no words, but I was feeling really happy doing the mundanest, dirtiest job. I think that's, for me, the definition of transformation, right? When you can find just really little moments of happiness and joy for no reason. But yeah, that, I think the biggest breakthrough was just being able to acknowledge that I do have feelings and I don't have to keep them in down inside of me, and I can express them in ways that are going to keep me moving to what I want, through to what I want. And essentially that will be wealth, true wealth and money and everything. Yeah.
Beautiful. And yeah, true wealth includes money, but it's not just about money, right? So that's what I'm all about, is working with money really consciously and mindfully, because it's an important piece and it's a very powerful tool to work with, but it's not everything. A truly wealthy life involves lots of things: health, relationships, your work, your sense of purpose and fulfillment, for example, your home. So these are all areas that are really important, but money is a very powerful pillar and a very powerful activator, because I found there's nowhere to hide. And it also helps to bridge between your spiritual world and your physical world. And it's mirroring something. Everything in our physical reality is mirroring something richer and deeper. And this is what I've found working with that soul wisdom, soul guidance over 25 years, is that there is information in there. There is information in the physical that is trying to call us home. We're on a journey where our soul is wanting to realize itself through our physical lived experience. And it doesn't need to reject anything. But it does mean that what that also means is not rejecting anything, including the shadow, including the pain. And so I've really learned from my life using spirituality. What I realized over time, it was a tool that helped me elevate, it healed me. But I also then used it as pain avoidance, to disassociate, to disconnect, because I couldn't handle actually the feelings that I was holding inside my body that I wasn't even really aware of. So we need to bridge. And I see it as the pain, or the going into the, we hold a lot of our money blocks and our trauma around the lower centers, particularly around the sacral chakra and base chakras. And manifestation is a journey of coming in to the physical, right? Taking an idea, taking a concept or a vision and realizing it through the physical body. So it's like birthing through the body. We need to bring it down and through. And it's embodiment, fully embodying it. Just like the seed, right? We put it in the ground and the roots need to go into the deep, dark soil. We have energetic roots that need to go into the deep, dark soil as well. And what I found is that usually means traversing through shame, sadness, grief, loss, historical hurt and harm, but trying to not get locked in to the stories of that, but to stay present with it so we can liberate, because this is really about liberation, unlocking, setting yourself free. And a lot of spiritual people, freedom is a very high value, but freedom doesn't happen from not being rooted, right? Otherwise we become these like tumbling weeds. We need to root down into the darkness, into the depths. And that is absolutely part of our true nature. You know, it's very shamanic. I find it's much more shamanic when we're going into the roots in the ground so we can rise. And what I found is it's also so you can feel safe as yourself, in your body, in your life, in your business, in your bank account, that you can fully show up powerfully to every area of your life. And that's what I call leadership, like heart, body, soul aligned wealth, heart, body, soul aligned leadership. And so you can consciously create. And this is an intense journey. Being a leader of your life, of your business, of your finances is intense. There's an intensity to it, but it's also around why. I think what's so important is to really get clear on your why. Like, why are you going to, we want to wake up our wealth and manifest more money and have all these wonderful things, but we need to get really clear on the why it's really important to you. And for me, it's the soul why, because everything I do is guided by my heart, guided by my soul, guided by that wealthy wisdom within. And I need to know why, because my mind, the one that wants to stay comfortable, the survival brain that kicks off is going to have a lot of objections to traversing through the unknown. So it's really important to get clear on why. Why is this important to you? Why are you going to face everything? Why are you going to face your deepest fears and feel really uncomfortable? Why are you going to do that? Because there's a desired outcome. There's a result that you want, which is often, like you were saying with the toilet thing, it's quite simple at the end of the day, right? What we truly want and desire, I think, is quite simple. So yeah, powerful stuff.
Very beautiful, very powerful. And I just wanted to speak into that part about safety and support. Like for me personally, I didn't even feel safe to have support, right? Because I've done it on my own for my entire life. I brought up 4 children. I was living in survival for most of that time, just providing a roof and food over their head. And it was very difficult to ask for help. And in this process, one of my greatest, proudest things is that I've actually been able to ask for support, and the gratitude I have for my partner who's been able to provide that, because I never actually thought I could ever ask, and give me the space, to give me the time to do the work I needed to do to heal the traumas, to heal the wounds, so that I can have what I want, everything that we want, because it's in us as well in this process. And also just the boundary thing, being able to hold my own in situations with the dynamics of family and the differences, and because I'm the black sheep of the family, there's always one, and I always did things differently, and just being able to hold myself within the dynamics of that. So many things, Lara. I'm so grateful for finding you, to be honest. But yeah, there's just little things, but big things. And trusting is a huge one. A little story, and I know we've been going a little while, but the other day I took my daughter, dropped her at the airport and took her car, and she traveled on an airplane with the car key. How you've got the keyless key. You don't need the key. I don't know. It's all new to me, all this new fang-dangle stuff, but it's a keyless thing. But if you turn the car off, then you can't turn it on again. So when I got back to my location, I thought I turned it off, and I went, oh no, I forgot to get the key from her. Oh my goodness, I'm stuck at this location. It was a beautiful location. I was at a farm, an organic farm, but I went, oh goodness, well, it wasn't a big deal. And then I pushed the button again and it turned on. And I realized I had her spare key from 2 weeks ago still in my bag. Like, that to me was like intervention. I don't know. But yeah, little wins and little things like that. So I just love to celebrate those little things and being grateful for all the things and bringing us here. But
absolutely. And what I just wanted to share about with waking up our wealth, we've been talking about trauma and money blocks and not being able to receive. What underneath that is the most immense creative power. Underneath that, what is ready and waiting for you on the other side of that is incredible creative power. And this is where, from my point of view, you are co-creation with God or source, the universe, life, nature. And what we want to do is that those parts are usually buried under, and they're in the shadows. And this is your activator. They're the part of you that actually knows how to create, knows how to manifest, knows how to go for what you want. But again, that's usually shrouded in shame or unworthiness. But it's almost like the opposite is true. It's like that thing we have shame about, or we don't feel worthy about, or is actually where we're hiding some of our superpowers and our gifts. And so just for anyone listening, I want to say that's why we need to go through it's almost like pulling back the layers or breaking through that shell of self-protection. It's actually holding the gold. It's holding the keys. It's actually the keys are in there, just ready and waiting for you to find it, to realize they are there. And when we're in that not worthy or lack and scarcity, not enough, we're like searching around or running around. We put a lot of energy into things that aren't really moving us forward. So we take action. I call it misaligned action versus aligned action. Or we're taking a reactive action rather than aligned action. And so we're doing all of this inner work to actually come home to that true wealth, that inner wealth, to create that outer wealth. And once we're in alignment with that, it's very simple, it's very clear, it's very drama-free. But we still have to work with these beautiful brains at the same time and hold that as we go. So and there's so much magic in the tiny moments. We celebrate little wins, we celebrate big wins, and it's extraordinary what we're capable of, I would say.
Absolutely, 100%. Our little minds have got a lot to answer for. They're keeping us safe, right? They're just keeping us safe, yeah. And it's okay, we got this. But yeah, I love the work and the deepness and working with our inner part, those inner parts of ourselves, the child, and all of it is just so profound and so powerful. And it's been an amazing journey. And the way Lara, is there anything else you wanted to share? I was going to talk about how I met you, but there's something.
Yeah, no, I just would love to share about what people can do to dive even deeper into this work, so we can tell them about the Wealth Retreat, but I'd love to share whatever you would like.
Yeah, I was going to talk about how I met you. Lara does this beautiful 5 days retreat. That's called the Wealth Retreat, and it is free, which is amazing, like where you can tap into all of the things we've been talking about, and over 5 days, and it's about an hour a day. And then you can really tune in and go deep into the activation of the work that she shares, and then have the opportunity to uncover or discover, and some very amazing miracles have happened in those 5 days, 5-day retreats, Lara.
Yeah, I've had so many people tell me they just incredible manifestations happen. A number of people said I always make the most money when I come to your retreats in my business, but there's a lot of really profound inner shifts, inner awarenesses, people going for things, landing new clients, landing new contracts. It's quite extraordinary. And if nothing else, like really profound, deeper connection with yourself, with your soul, with your purpose, and understanding, also more awareness around what's been, it's like that invisible membrane that's keeping you separate between where you are now and what you want. So yeah, it is really profound and a very powerful week. And yeah, highly recommend tapping in. So is that where you met me the first time, was the Wealth Retreat?
I did your Wealth Retreat. Actually, I did it a couple of times, and then I always knew I was going to come on board and work with you one day. And even that alone, that was a block, right? Can I really do this? And I just said yes to me eventually and went, you're worth it. And it's been so incredibly powerful and transformational, and I think and there's more to come. There's so much more. There's always more. It's not the destination, it's the journey and what we uncover and continue to work with. But now I have the tools or the process to be able to hold the past but not let it define my future, if that makes sense. And so I think if anyone this work is not for the lighthearted, I'm saying. It's for people who really want to dive deep and be courageous and brave, as you always say, to go there and dissolve and wake up your wealth and manifest from that place. Right? I can tell you so many more little stories about manifesting. And the other thing I wanted to say is I had this program running that I had to be doing all the time to create, right? To manifest. So I had to be on, like my nervous system must have been like running overtime, because I was always like, if I'm not doing something, I'm not going to manifest. But the opposite is actually true. Like I manifest best when I'm pull back and go inside and do the work, really do the work. And some mornings I wake up early and spend 2 hours doing the work, right? Because it's worth it for me. It's worth it for me to achieve what I want to achieve long term. We're not talking like fast food here, long-term result. And I can feel that's just very close because my vision is huge and I know I'm going to get there. That's that yeah, I know my why. And yeah, so if you're inclined to dive deep, then come on board with us on the next Wealth Retreat, which is in September 18th.
Yeah.
18th we start. So I think Sophia's going to put the link in the comments for us so you can join the next Wealth Retreat, and highly recommended it. And I know Margie is in the chat there, and she did one of your retreats and absolutely had an amazing time, and I know that she got a lot out of it. And I think also Ruby's is in the chat too. Both of them did the last retreat and they just love you. And I've got to say, like, I also launched my own mastermind through working with you, and that's been incredible. The women I'm talking about are in that mastermind and they're deep divers, and I just love being able to share what I'm learning through you to them as well, and it's been incredible. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I'm so delighted. And just want to say that, yeah, we're going to, just for the Wealth Retreat, what we do is we help you get connected to your heart, body, soul aligned vision, the amount of money that you want, but also calling you in. We're going to really look deeply into your money blocks, what's stopping you or blocking you from welcoming that in. I'm going to be teaching you some really important hacks, some money manifestation hacks, how to the inner work for the outer work. So that's what I specialize in, is all the inner game, which is about 80% of our physical results, how to take aligned action, what that is, etc. And also you're in an incredible network of big-hearted entrepreneurs, business owners who are deep divers, who've done a lot of work on themselves, because this is not for the faint-hearted. So I find that people that come into these networks have done at least 5 years of self-development, but it's usually more, and very experienced, very good at what you do, qualified, you have something of value that you can exchange for money, but there are ways that you've been unconsciously or consciously getting in your own way. So we want to bust through that. It's a very beautiful, supportive, big-hearted network of very powerful leaders. And some of you are those powerful leaders in hiding, and some of you are more visible, and it's helping to pull back those layers so you can step into that next level. It's completely free. And just for Australia time, we go live about 12 p.m. UK time. So there will be a replay if it's too late for you. That replay is up for the week. So you just want to make sure you're putting about an hour aside each day to tap in and to access the recordings and take lots of notes and come in and use it as a really powerful vortex for manifesting what you want.
Yes. Amazing, amazing. So, any last parting words of wisdom, Lara, that you want to share? That was beautiful.
Yes, this really is a practice and a discipline. And your mind, your default mind, is going to take you on a whole wild journey. Mine likes to take me down a wild journey of anxiety and overwhelm and hopelessness. And I use this every day to connect into the heart and the soul of what is possible. My mind tells me all sorts of stories that catastrophizes. The heart and soul is going to guide us into ways to powerfully create, especially in these times of lots of turbulence, lots of change, lots of uncertainty. It's really important that you have a place to ground and to anchor and to really listen, because it's like the waves are getting choppier and choppier. We want to go deeper into really connect, how to lead through this time, how to seed, plant, and innovate during very difficult times of change. And it's like going deeper. We've got to go deeper. And rather than getting caught up in all the noise, because your mind will take you down lots of wild and wonderful, very entertaining roller coasters, but they're not necessarily the best use of your time. So I would say this is a discipline, this is a practice, and it's what I use every day. It doesn't mean my anxiety doesn't go away. It's just about managing it. And it's about making a choice. I have to make a conscious choice each and every day to choose to lead from my wealth, to create from my wealth, rather than the lack, scarcity, fear, all that survival brain stuff. So that's what I would like to say. It's not just manifestations like, woo, magical manifestations just pops in, and things sometimes do land like that. But really in the root system of it is you making a choice to consciously lead. And that it's going to feel hard at times, but it's so worth it, because it's much harder being thrown around like a tumbleweed.
Spinning in the water. Yeah, absolutely. So I would love for you ladies, or gentlemen, there's gentlemen as well in this beautiful Sacred You community, and whoever's watching, to come and join us at the next retreat. That would be incredible. And I will definitely be there. And also I'm the host of the Empower You tribe in the group too. So if you're watching on other platforms and you want to come and join that, that's a way for me to serve and give back in the community here. And we meet every second Wednesday, so we can do that as well. But Lara, it's just been such a joy to connect like this and really talk about the work, because there's not many communities that we can do that without feeling a bit alienated with. But this has been amazing, and so much. And I look forward to catching you soon on the next part of our journey, and at the Wealth Retreat for sure. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been really beautiful to connect with you all and meet you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Lara. Take care, everybody. Lots of love.